I know that celebrations are supposed to cheer you on and be positive, but it also, like you said, it's that mile marker where you can look back and say, where have you come or where have you been? Also, a very sobering reminder, like, don't go back to that either. We had a little bit of a break.
We did.
Yes. And it was not only a little bit of a break, but it feels like a damn siesta. Like a quick but really good nap type of break.
A fiesta siesta.
A fiesta
I like
siesta.
It.
So obviously, welcome back to Stories, Success, and Stuff. It's great to see you all again. I'm Kristelle Siarza Moon. So very excited.
I got a moon on today for you specifically. I'm ready. I got my moon and my balloons for you today.
I know.
Welcoming you back.
Yes, crystal merchandise all the way through.
Yes.
Obviously, Jace Downey here, co-host for today. Specific topic is celebrations. And very much ties into belated happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Celebrations for me in the wedding. I mean, we could talk about our birthdays, like the wedding, for 45 minutes.
It's true.
But, obviously we have some meaningful content to go through it.
Yes.
So you took a 3-day break, which is great for your birthday. Mm-hmm. And you had, like, your squad come into town, right? Talk about that for a minute.
Oh, this is a perfect topic for today. Because as you hit these age milestones, or you come to a birthday and you start looking at life, or I do. I don't know about you, but it's like another year older. Where am I at in life? What have I accomplished this last year?
Yeah.
And I get stuck sometimes in this notion that I'm not where I'm supposed to be at this age.
Oh, you beat yourself up?
I don't beat myself up, but it's not like this ruminating meanness, but I do. I kind of get down on myself a little bit because on paper, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, right? I'm not at a level of success in these areas that society has deemed what we're supposed to do, right?
Society has deemed is
Yeah,
the
and
phrase.
it's like, consciously I know that. We talk about that here. We have to define it for ourselves. But that stuff sinks in. Like, I'm just as much a take on collective consciousness as anybody.
Yeah.
And so I sat and I thought, well, where are you at, Jace? Like, and where you invested your time and your energy and your resources, do you have a return on that investment? Mm-hmm. And so with my crew being in town, I had my best friend, his husband, a great friend from Austin, she's a soul companion through and through.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love these people.
Heterosexual life mate?
But yeah, there's these people where like, they're the ones where you're about to text them and they call you. Or like you're on that level, always together. Mm-hmm. That's her and I.
It's a little scary when they text you because you're like, oh, well, I was just thinking about her. Yeah. And how did that happen? Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay, so what did you guys, okay.
Oh my gosh, we did so much. We did so many things. And one of the cool things was I actually asked her to come, which is not something I would do because that's like quite an ask, right? To have someone come in for your birthday. But I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to be like, hey, any chance you want to come into town? And then she said yes. And I was like, for real? So as I was looking.
I was just kidding.
Well, I wasn't kidding. But I was like, I felt like that was like a stretch for me to ask for that type of thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah, it's a big ask.
So as I was looking back and I looked at all of the things that were done for my birthday. And I had like a 10-day birthday stretch of celebration with things with my family, with friends, with groups.
10 days.
10 days. It's still I do birthday months. Like I still got a couple birthday lunches waiting for me. But my best friend and his husband, they planned a whole surprise day for me for all things specific for me. Like we just did all of this stuff. And I paused down and I looked at these people who went out of their way to celebrate me, who literally came to my city to be with me and to show me love, and the gifts that I got and their time times my love language, all of this stuff. And I thought,
that's so cool.
What more success do you need?
Yeah.
Like I'm the person that I've been working to become. I actually am her now.
Yeah.
I've spent the last 10 years, like truly dedicated my time and energy to not being a shitty person, to turning my life around from addiction.
I'm so glad you're not a shitty person
Thank you.
either.
It's so much nicer. Like even just for me, like living as a shitty person sucks.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that enough. But like if you have an asshole in your life, trust me, it sucks more for them.
Yeah.
I remember a friend telling me once, like, you're just basically like, you kind of suck to hang out with. Like, you're kind of an asshole. And I was like, yeah, but you get to walk away. I have to be with me all the time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it does fucking suck, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not anymore. Like,
Yay!
I love being with me. I'm not a shitty person. I'm not striving to become who I want to be. I actually am just living as that person now.
That's so cool.
And I have the evidence of others in my life who respect and love that person. And I help them become the people they want to be too.
Yeah.
And I thought, what more do you want, honey?
Oh, that's really sweet.
What more success do you want in life?
Well, and when I met them, okay, so I took a sabbatical for a week as well. And to me, it felt like a sabbatical. But when I met them on Friday at the New Mexico United Game, forgive me that I was already like a little bit inebriated. But when I met them, I remember thinking, it's a good testament of who you are as a person when you meet the people that surround them. Mm-hmm. They were genuine and kind and very patient with me while I was very much drinking. And they were also just genuine, right? You could tell that they don't have a filter.
Nope.
So it was really sweet to meet them.
Yeah.
And then obviously too, it was very obvious that you were in your happy place too. You were glowing.
I love my people.
Yeah. Well, and I think that a lot of professionals forget that, if they ask what's not fulfilling in my life, they don't have a squad behind them, like in one of our episodes.
Yeah.
And celebrating things like your birthday, especially when you're older. I think more people when they're older should celebrate more of their birthday.
I think so too. Yeah. And be celebrated more. I look at birthdays kind of selfishly, where when I'm celebrating someone's birthday, mm-hmm. it's for them, but it's to celebrate the impact they have in my life. My life is better because of the people in it, and their birthday is a day to honor that. Yeah. And to celebrate that.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah.
I love this celebration topic because there are these reasons to celebrate all the time.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for big things like weddings or birthdays to celebrate. Yeah. And in fact, and I know we're going to dig into this a little bit, we have a better chance at success over time if we celebrate the wins along the way. Oh, yeah. So it was funny. Another reason why I really like this topic for today, my son and I have these really pseudo-philosophical questions. And I remember him asking himself well, I don't know where I need to go. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I don't know, I want to have a girlfriend. He's 15. So he's I want to have a girlfriend, etc. And so I think one of the funny conversations that came up, I said, Jonathan, I was really mean to myself when I was your age. And even in my 20s. He goes, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, you got to be nice to yourself, and you have to take a moment to celebrate what you've accomplished. And I told him about how, I blinked and you were 15 all of a sudden. And then I beat myself up as a mom, not realizing his birthday is actually a celebration for me too, because it's another trip around the sun for him. He's even a little bit more older. His birthday doesn't have to be a shotgun party over at Cliffs Amusement Park, right? I have to tell him we got to stop sometimes and actually enjoy where we're at in life. And I think if anything, he's going to make some mistakes and he's going to fail a couple times, but at least I hope so. At least I hope he realizes take a moment to celebrate the little wins, which is how I talked about the wedding with him too. Mm-hmm. Kind of a good, easy segue. I stressed out so much in the beginning planning it, but I told him, if anybody hasn't planned a wedding, hire an event planner or a wedding planner. Or somehow talk 4 of your closest friends to plan it for you as a surprise. As you have seen. But, for us, I told him at multiple times, I said, I knew that we were going to celebrate us throughout the entire week, that we had to take a moment to breathe and take it all in. Mm-hmm. And if a lot of people during the wedding, I think, saw that. I mean, you stayed till the end. So, yeah. Give me a dance floor. I'm going to be on it. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I know. Okay, let me talk about the wedding for a second. It was super freaking cool. And Justin's always the third person in this podcast, but it was even more comforting to have just now. I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It was really great to have Justin there because he's always been the person in the peripheral.
being a side of the story of my life. So like, thank you, Justin. I don't know why I'm crying about you, but I am. But it was even more meaningful to have somebody that I'm incredibly comfortable with during my wedding, like from the beginning of it, because he's capturing these moments of like celebration and excitement and laughter and like really inappropriate things that Spencer said in the middle of the ceremony. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're saying this in front of the priest. Like we did what we wanted to do, which was celebrate our love. And we did it in a way where, I don't know, I'm crying. Good thing I'm not wearing makeup. Like, we did it in a way which was very intentional. Like, I look at my friends that got married, like, this weekend, right? Alexis and Sal Perdomo got married, and they're in the real estate industry here in town, and they're developers. And what was crazy about their wedding, like, their favorite photo cracked me up. Their favorite photo was them literally sitting in 2 chairs with her with a glass of wine. It wasn't the ceremony. It wasn't the reception. She was just like, the fact that we got to sit down and enjoy each other was my favorite moment. And I said, I know exactly what that meant. So, you know, during the wedding, we had the ceremony, we got nervous, etc. We drove away in a car for like an hour. And I said, I intentionally like built this in. I was like rushing through our photos. I don't know if Justin noticed it, right? And, of course, we're like super comfortable around Justin, so we're just being ourselves. But we drove away for an hour. We went to go grab cigarettes and Monsters. That is the most like married couple thing we could have done. I showed up to the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center gas station on 12th Street in my damn dress and drank a Monster right across from the Domino's.
I'm getting the visual now. Just the epitome of romance. I love it. I'm about it.
It was the coolest ways for us to celebrate each other because it was just like, it was us. And then even like our first dance, it was private. Like Justin was there, the photographer. And even our wedding coordinator, she's like, I know I'm not supposed to watch, but this is really cool. Like we danced under the fractals.
What?
Yeah. I'll have to show you guys a photo when the finals come out. But like, it was a really great way to celebrate us. But I think the whole excitement of it, there's no lesson. There's no lesson from the whole wedding. I think I look back at it now and I said to myself, I'm really glad we did what we did. Because I'm not going to remember the food. I'm not going to remember the cake. I'm not going to remember the disaster of like not even wearing boutonnieres. Like I'm not going to remember that stuff in 10 to 15 years.
Disaster.
It's just, I'm not going to remember like the little, I even told myself even before the wedding had happened, I said, I'm not going to worry about that stuff. I'm going to remember the moments of us together. And and like, that's the part that I'm like, can we do it again? Can we get married? Can we do this again? Can I be on a honeymoon again? Like, those are the things I'm going to remember. And I think, you know, so if there was a lesson out of this whole thing, being the podcast being about story success and stuff, I think taking moments to pause and just reflect and like stop beating ourselves up and just saying like, where did I go? Where did I be? Why did I like, why did I reevaluate myself? Or why am I in the woulda, coulda, shoulds or the used to coulds as Spencer and I call it? I used to could do this. I used to do this. I could do this, but I don't anymore. That kind of thing. Instead of getting ourselves caught in that like cycle, just celebrate. You know what? I woke up today and I took a shower. That's a fucking win for me.
Some days, yeah. Some days I'm like, I took all of my vitamins today. Nailed it. Adulting.
Fancy feast, like right there. No, I mean that. Like it. Sometimes I think we get into this cycle of celebrating has to be big. Yeah, it has to be a party. It has to be a dinner, as it should be.
As it can be.
I was like, yeah. As it can be is the best way to put it. But like, even just saying to myself, you know what? I'm going to go to lunch today at a fancy place and I'm going to eat dinner by myself because I did something really good today. Yeah. I think that's great. Or even like, you know what? As long as it's not an indulgence, I'm going to go get that Big Mac that I haven't had in almost like 2 years. Okay for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree. 1,000%. I had a really good friend because I'm obsessed with self-mastery, as you know. That's kind of been my last 10 years and recognizing like, so going from, I'm a completely worthless being that shouldn't get to live to like, oh, wait a second, maybe that's not true. Oh, wait, I'm kind of cool. Whoa, I'm way more capable than I thought. Holy smell. And like just growing. Now it's like, what else is out there? What else can I do? Like, what would my full potential look like? Now it's not this like sense of having to improve because I'm awful, but it's more like, oh, I'm a pretty neat person and I wonder what we could do with that. So I'm always looking for what's next, and I'm immediately self-reflecting all the time, which actually feels, I got a little message from my inner self being like, that kind of is hurtful to always be looking for how to improve and like what's next and how could we have done this differently and all of that. And so I had a really great friend be like, Jace, you've got to stop sometimes and just enjoy the fruits of your labor that you've already put in. Yeah. Like you already have come a long way. Yes, reflect on that, but celebrate it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so important and to keep us going. And it does hurt. Like when I got that little message from my inner self being like, hey, by the way, always telling me I need to improve doesn't feel great.
Yeah. Why?
I was like, of course it doesn't now that you mention it.
No, I even think like C-levels like myself, you know, when we have a major life event like this where we get married, we have a kid, etc. Like Justin's becoming a big part of the content and topic. Like I remember telling him, I said, not a lot of companies get to have paternal leave, right? And I said, I don't think it's fair that men only get 2 weeks when they should have, paternal leave as much as maternal leave. So it's just family leave, right? And I think that Justin's an incredible dad because of the fact that he got to sit and enjoy all of it rather than like anxiously going back to work, right? And that goes back to me like, yeah, I could have taken an extra week if I really wanted to with like getting married, or we could have gone off and had a honeymoon. You know what we did? We woke up at 11 o'clock on the Tuesday after the wedding and we got DoorDash because somebody gave us a gift card. We eat DoorDash a lot, but that's besides the point. Like, it was really nice just to enjoy ourselves in the moment of being husband and wife. And it still hasn't like, it's the honeymoon phase, but it still hasn't like kicked in that, oh shit, like this, you can sit and just enjoy it, but you don't have to like, we really didn't have to go to like Cancun or like a fucking trip to Italy or anything like that. Like right away, it was just nice just to marinate in the excitement and the joy and recover from all the drinking that we did that week.
Uh-oh. I love that. I love this notion that the greatest celebration perhaps we can have for ourselves is to just be fully present in the lives or the situation we've created.
Yeah. I also think, to kind of switch gears a little bit, there was a woman, I want to switch gears in terms of how people have made it into a business themselves or how people have used celebrations as their mantra in life, as we're kind of talking overarching. There's a woman that I really looked up to when I first started my business, and she did this for me that I do for other women now. Her name is Tiffany Gravel. Tiffany started a company called, it was her, why am I blanking on her name of her company? It's an event planning company. She's planned Maravilla, the Somos Unidas Foundation Ball, phenomenal corporate event planner, even a nonprofit corporate event planner. What I love about Tiffany, though, is that her motto for her company, which I really think is her motto in life, is leave nothing uncelebrated. I loved that when she started her business. And what she did is that she celebrated women that went into business for themselves, and she would take them out to lunch and pay for their lunch. Anytime that she did that, and when she did that to me, I like almost cried. Not that I couldn't afford the lunch, but I said, well, she did that for me. I'm going to do that too. So now I celebrate. When a woman says, I'm opening up my own business, there was a woman by the name of Beverly McClure. She started her own business. Amanda Castillo, who went out and ventured on her own marketing firm. I told them, I was like, I'm taking you to lunch because somebody did it for me. I do it for men too. But I said, somebody did that for me. I want to celebrate you taking this full-on leap and just saying, fuck it, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to create more jobs. I'm going to put in the sweat equity to do this. Celebrate it.
Yes.
I think there needs to be more business owners having birthdays for their companies.
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
they should celebrate the fact that they're going through another major milestone in their life, which is their company. So anyways, I wanted to bring up the story about Tiffany and her incredible theme. In fact, Tiffany, you should be on the show at some point in time. Tiffany really leaves nothing uncelebrated. Like, it's one of my favorite mottos when it comes to the theme of celebration, for sure. Yeah.
I think we have this notion that if we celebrate along the way, it's going to diminish the celebration component.
Who came up with that idea?
I don't. It's
a terrible idea.
We only can do it when it's big and we deserved it, and it's these huge monumental moments in life. But in actuality, we tend to, if you look at efforts over time, when we're talking about success, and if we have a goal. And it's a 10-year goal, let's say, or even a 1-year goal in my world, it'd just be like a lifetime. It wears us down if we only have one celebration as part of that.
Yeah.
The motivation dies off. And so something that I have found to be really helpful when I was running my own business or in other areas of my life is to have smaller milestones along the way, have a really clear vision of what success at that level will look like for me, and already have a celebration planned for them along the way. And it's so much easier for the brain to chew on. Like, oh, I only have to get here, and oh, yay. And then we get like that little boost. And then it gives us the energy to keep going the rest of the way. So this notion that like, oh, if we celebrate along the way, we're going to diminish our efforts somehow. Scientifically, that's not actually true.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of funny, actually. So we use Asana. Hey, Asana, you should sponsor this podcast.
What's up?
Asana actually celebrates when you do a task. Have you noticed this?
Yes, of course.
It has a unicorn that flies through the damn screen. Like, that's a really small, celebration. And, you I know that you're going to talk about like defining what a macro and a micro celebration is.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea because little things like that are like, even when you have to celebrate closing your laptop at 3:00 on a Friday.
Oh yeah. When I actually turn, I will like tell this to my best friend Eric, like I turned the laptop off on Friday last week. I left it here.
Yeah.
Full dedication that I would not be doing work. And okay, I have my personal laptop that I can work on if I need to, but it was the intention. It was the intention of I am not going to be this, because I was going to be celebrating all weekend for my birthday. And that felt like such a gift to me where I actually completed everything that I needed to do. I prepped for Monday, so I got my back for next week, which I love doing. And now I'm going to close this down in honor of the efforts I put in and the celebration to come. And it feels so good, like these little things, which that would be a micro celebration, where we have our 9-year anniversary coming up at Siarza, right? Like that's a macro celebration. That's a big one. That one is 9 years in the making, right? So that's going to look different, where shutting that laptop down and leaving it at the office, that's a micro celebration.
Oh, I love a good party.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows I love a good party.
Yeah.
Yeah. My celebration just before the wedding was, I had every intention to log off on Thursday, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, I just had to log off on Monday. I even wrote this like long message to you guys, right? And I was like, I'm terrified. Like, I'm terrified to do this. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. I've never just checked out for this long. And even Ed was like, well, you should also make sure that, Spencer needs to understand that you run a business. And I was like, he does. Like, he's sacrificed a lot for this business too, behind the scenes. But I also want to celebrate us and celebrate him. So I'm going to celebrate closing this laptop on Monday at 5:00 or whenever I logged off and said, like, I'm done for the time. And the amount of fear and excitement that happened in that one moment was just indescribable. But I definitely, what I said in that meeting too was, I had a moment of excitement and gratefulness, which is in turn like gratitude and celebration very much can go hand in hand, right?
Yes, absolutely.
In my head, I said, Ed said to us, said to me, like I said in the message, if you don't trust me by now, Kristelle, I should quit. And I had full faith in everybody on the team. And so I was like, I feel fine. Everything's going to be fine.
And here we are. Walls are still around us. Yeah. Clients are still on the books.
Everything was going to be fine. I know that there was definitely more work done on some certain levels. Like people definitely had to pick up the pieces, which is stressful. And I'm very, very conscious of that. But even celebrating them afterwards and being thankful for them. Like I said on the Monday meeting today or this week, I was just like, I going to be really annoying today because I'm really excited to be back. And I definitely have kudos for everybody at this point, and just saying thank you and how grateful I was that the company ran by itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like 2 weeks after 9 years is justifiable. Yeah. That's, and you're right. Like if one of your great strengths is bringing together a really strong team and having everyone well positioned for their skill set and their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And
I hope so.
Well, I mean, here we are, right? We all did the things. We all kept everything up and running. All the balls are still in the air.
Patricia's still in my office.
Patricia's still there. We just let her kick it for the time being.
For those of you that don't know, Patricia's a skeleton from Halloween from last year.
And she just has continued to living with us and joining us in different components of the office. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you love a good party. And I want to bring in that celebration can look different for all of us at different times. I remember, I was celebrating some anniversary around not drinking, and I was out of some of my other vices as well. And it was a big anniversary, and I'm like, what do I do to celebrate? I'm eating healthy, so going out and like eating, a big meal or something that's not on the table, drinking's not on the table. These other things that I had normally done for celebration just weren't going to be in the mix. And so I actually paused down and I'm like, what would just feel fun for you? Like, what would be something specific to you in this moment in life that would feel special to you? And the obvious answer was go to a used bookstore and in a candy store and just go pick out some books, which is like, that's for me, that's, everything. I'm like, oh man. So I went and just spent like an hour or so in the bookstore, which I just love. Like I'm an actual book reader. I can do the digital, but I prefer, and I love used books and energy that's gone into them, and somebody's loved it or whatever. And so I went and I just picked out books and hung out in the bookstore.
That's awesome.
And that's not like a party, and I was by myself, but to me it felt special. And I was like, go ahead and treat yourself. Like get whatever books you want. Yeah. I like to buy collector books too, like really old books and unusual books and things. And for someone who's been nomadic for years, books are a real stupid thing to collect and be attached to, but I just keep hauling them along with me.
I was going to say, I'm sure that the moving costs are just kind of rough on that part. But
to my body, because I don't pay anyone to move my stuff. Yeah. I just haul it around myself like an idiot. But so it's like that to me. It's like, so we don't have, celebrations don't have to look any one way. Just like we talked about fun. Mm-hmm. We have to define fun for ourselves. We have to define success for ourselves, and we get to define celebration for ourselves as well. Yeah. And have that be, whether that's the latte or a big party or a vacation or going and getting a book that you want, or just self high five.
Yeah, I had a big celebration. It was actually funny last night. I was like looking through our podcasts, and that's when I had messaged you about our podcast last night.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I've been having trouble sleeping from I very much have been having trouble sleeping, getting back into the rhythm of things. And I pull up an app, as I mentioned in our last podcast, totally recovering gambling addict. And I looked at my app and I opened it, and it's a counting app, and it's called I Am Sober or something like that. And it's made for people that might have a different type of addiction or whatever that might be, but it's just all addictions, right?
Yeah, it does, man.
So September 1st, 2019 was my last bet. And it was crazy because I opened up the app and they're like, congratulations, you hit 4 years. I was like,
how's that now?
I hit 4 years. Everybody has that oh shit moment when they're about to celebrate. And I totally missed my anniversary date. Yeah. I usually celebrate it, but we were in the middle of the wedding that I totally forgot. And I giggled because I said, usually I'll I remember when this restaurant Fogo de Chão opened.
Oh yeah.
I freaking love Fogo de Chão. It's a very much a treat for me. And I told Spencer one time, I said, let's go. And he said, really? It's expensive. Why? And I said, it's my anniversary. He goes, no, our anniversary is on August 8th.
No, bitch. It's my anniversary.
That's exactly what I told him. I was like, no. The other anniversary, he's like, okay, let's go. Like, and he was totally supportive and excited. And I was excited because, little things like that. I don't plan a trip or something. Usually that's a celebration that I do because it makes you, I know that celebrations are supposed to cheer you on and be positive, but it also, like you said, it's that mile marker where you can look back and say, where have you come or where have you been? Also, a very sobering reminder, like, don't go back to that either. Like, don't go back to that shitty life that you had or shitty mistakes that you made, etc. So, I think, treating yourself during a celebration, I think is a really good thing to do. Especially if you're trying to overcome something that was like unhealthy in your life beforehand. So,
and it's interesting how things that once were celebration were like, I never celebrate my sobriety anniversaries anymore because I don't put any effort into being sober anymore. It's just who I am. It's just part of my life.
Same. Yeah,
so I'm February 2015. So however many that it won't, however many years that is. Yeah, it's weird. I never think about it anymore. I get like my phone is like, hey girl, and I'll be like, cool, thanks. But like I don't celebrate that one anymore because I'm not putting any effort into it anymore.
Yeah. No. It's your new way of life.
Yeah. I don't even think about it. And so, it's like that used to be such a big deal. And then because for me, it's like it's about the efforts, right? Never about the numbers. So the efforts aren't there. So the celebration's not there anymore. The celebration now is just that I get to live a cool life. And I honor that.
So it's funny you said effort, right? There was a time during the wedding planning where I felt like it was absolutely like a very big effort. And I think that a lot of people fail to celebrate themselves because of the effort and the journey to get to the celebration, right? And so I remember having a couple times during this, and we've been in business for 9 years, created a nonprofit before, like, professionally speaking, the wedding was really challenging. It wasn't hard. It was just definitely very challenging considering some of these little things here and there that would come up and like change the way that we wedding plan, right? Or the plans in the wedding. And I definitely had a moment when I call it the fuck this shit, I'm done moment, where I told Spencer a couple times, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, let's go to the courthouse and just get this over with. Apparently there's a drive-through in Nob Hill where you can get married.
Really?
And I was like, let's go. Yeah. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fun anymore. And he's like, that's not okay to say. And I said, no, I know, like, obviously this is my stress that's talking, but like, there's a lot of factors and people that are making this very unfun to plan this big celebration. And there's a couple times where it felt like it wasn't about us getting married. It was about us satisfying XYZ people. And I can, especially studying the wedding industry in other places, I'm like, oh, I can very much understand where people lose sight about the love factor, the celebration of love, which is the point of a sacrament of marriage, right? Depending on what you believe. And so I thought to myself, like, how many times did I want to give up? Right? How many times do I want to give up in planning a celebration? I think that actually deters a lot of people away from, like, why should I throw a party?
Yes.
Right? Why should I throw a party for my birthday? Why should I go through the effort? Why should I plan this expensive? Why should I spend money on myself or spend money on other people to celebrate? Why don't I just give them what they want? Like, I get that, right? But there's, it goes back to like the 5 love languages that we talked about. Some people actually feel loved and feel celebrated by a gift, a physical gift. Yeah. Some people feel loved by the time that you spend with them or that emotional connection or the physical connection that you give to them. Like I think those are things that we take into consideration when it comes to being celebrated, but we don't take into consideration the process to get there. And some people just take the easy way out. I don't recommend it, right? Even I remember our first celebration, which is the 365 days of Siarza SD. That was our 1 year celebration. I had like pennies in the company bank account. I literally asked people to do a BYOB company party.
Why not?
But I called it a networking where you bring a beer to share, bring a 6-pack to share.
Boom, make it personal.
Make it personal,
Love
right?
it.
And people put their names and then they changed beers around.
Cute.
It was great.
Yeah.
And why I giggle about that is when we went through that, like, it was a lot of effort to plan that party, and we were really, really, really broke. But we still did it because it celebrated the team that we started. It celebrated the people around us. We had not as many people as our wedding, but damn close. Like, all of our family friends went. A lot of people that were at the wedding were over there too. Our business colleagues. People just knew that Siarza knew how to throw a really great party. And we did. Like, we had...
There's an article over there with us as the life of the party, in fact.
That's very true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, y'all look good. You look like you're having fun.
Yeah, that's our Vanderpump Rules photo, as Marissa calls it.
Yeah. No, I like this notion, and pivoting is totally acceptable. Like, you're talking about, like, this isn't fun anymore. So I was planning my, like, main birthday part. I had many little micro celebrate. We did so many things in honor of it, but my actual birthday party was going to be a murder mystery party, which I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually have people in my life now that will do it, that will dress up and will play roles and do all of the things. So I felt like I'm like, now's the time I have to do this. I've always wanted to, and now I can, so I have to. But the weeks leading up to it, I just kept feeling resistance. I wasn't excited about planning it. Back in the day, I used to throw parties, and I would spend weeks building sets for them. I threw, like, weirdly eccentric parties.
That's so cool.
I loved it. It was so fun for me, and I had the time and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we would just go all out, and it was really fun. And so in my head, I'm like, I can't foresee this 1920s murder mystery party if I'm not transforming my entire house into a speakeasy. I just couldn't get there in my mind. Then I'm like, everything I'm going to have to do to make this happen. It was causing me stress. I also was thinking, like, these people are coming into town. People are taking time off work, all of this to celebrate me. It has to be something epic, right? And it was causing me so much stress. And I thought, nope, shut it down. If there's not enthusiasm for me to do this, shut it down.
Yeah.
Plan something else. And also I had to recognize the people that love me don't want me to be stressed out for their benefit, like, on their behalf. Like, that's the last thing that they would want. We could literally sit in my garage and just shoot the shit and they'd be fine.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, this isn't for us. It doesn't have to be anything, like, whatever you want. And so I just changed the plan to do, like, what would be fun for me that required very little effort. As soon as stress is in the mix, it's not fun for me anymore.
Yeah.
And so I had this idea
during the wedding.
of, like, my celebration has to look like this. And then I went, that doesn't feel celebratory to me. And so I pivoted and ended up having so much more fun as a result. So the notion of, like, sticking to what's true for us, even if other people are in the mix, even if there's expectations from others, it's my celebration.
Yeah.
Right? And luckily there wasn't any pushback, but I really am a big promoter of defining all of this stuff for ourselves. Like, that's what this podcast is about, right? Making sure that we're living life our way on our terms so that it can be the happiest, fullest life possible.
Sure. And one, the other point of the podcast too is, like, talking about the stories and how when we look at what does success look like, or what does that picture perfect success look like, it's been really fun so far, just kind of reflecting upon some of the conversations that C-levels and business owners don't have with themselves. And, like, if I could tell myself 8 years ago, you're about to get married and you're going to take 2 weeks off, like, I would be in a constant state of panic. And I would say the day after the wedding, I'd probably be back to working. I'm very glad that, 2015 Kristelle's not doing those same mistakes. And I hope that somebody learns from that same lesson too. So,
speaking of mistakes, we're going to be talking in our next episode about one of the biggest mistakes that new business owners and entrepreneurs make that often leads to the quick closing of their business.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope everyone will join us next time for that as well.
For sure. So, and that's going to do it for our episode for today. For stories of success and stuff, we talked about micro celebrations, macro celebrations, celebrating in general, pivoting for a celebration, removing the stress out of it. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcast channel, social media channel. Follow us at Siarza the Agency. Tell your friends. Tell your friends and tell your friends' friends, because we really only have our moms listening at this point. And don't forget to find out more information about us at siarza.com. So thanks very much.